Bidoop didoop. Hello, 3 people in the live chat. Hi. Hello, M161ification. I love that I go live with zero plan, as if I'm just like, oh, I'm just going to talk to the masses. And then the masses are like 3 people. Hello, W7 little droid. I mostly am going live lately to learn how to use the software because it keeps being glitchy and I'm scared of technology. M1 says, do you have any Kool-Aid? I thought this was a cult. M1, I am allergic to Kool-Aid, but I have this. Wozniak says the writhing masses, LMAO. Yes. I, I, I mean, I think my masses are rather cultured, actually. I'm always surprised by the quality of my audience. They never fail to impress me. 9K says, hi, Roy. You were one of the people who talked to me in my last ones and have nothing to. I mean, I always talking to nobody, so it would just be like every day when I am in my room talking to myself. I feel like I am just gonna be great at live streaming because I have so much practice. 5 people. I think that's a new record. W7E7 says, how has your day been so far? I mean, honestly, I spent most of my day getting ready. But I'm gonna film my first podcast later today, so I'm excited for that. I decided I'm gonna start my own podcast where I invite a person to have conversations and see what kind of oozes out of my brain because I need to make more watch hours. But most of my videos, I spend all my video essays. I put so much love into those. It takes me all week to make one. So I just need to make some more low effort content so that I won't be stomp of YouTube slop that the demands. M161 says, I'm a nerdy shut-in as well, so your stuff can literally speak to people. Like, not just metaphorically, but you can talk. It'd be cool. But yeah, I really do not leave my room unless absolutely necessary, like medically necessary. I prefer to read. I get invited to parties sometimes, which shocks me. And I'm always like I'm glad that I'm invited, but then I just say no because I'm like I don't want to go out past 7 p.m. Circadian rhythm to maintain here. I just read books and make. Last year I read 7 books. Everyone says, how's your Japanese language learning going? I think it's going pretty well. I am working on studying katakana and just kind of using like 5 different language apps all at once. Animal. I feel comfortable with like Germanic and Romance languages, so in order. So these are the languages that I speak. I have had conversations in 4 different languages. I have studied like 10 different languages at least, but um, the ones that I have had full conversations in. First is English, second is French, third is Icelandic, and fourth is German. And so, I mean, I wouldn't say I speak Japanese at all yet. No, it's gonna be a long time before I could have a conversation, but that's what I'm studying right now. I've also studied Russian, Polish, Swedish, Spanish, Navajo, and I mean, Japanese is definitely the most like Russian or Polish of what I've studied because it's just I put 100 hours into Polish and I can't say anything. But like I put 100 hours into German and ich kann sprechen verstehe Deutsch sehr gut jetzt. So yeah, I mean it's a challenge. It's gonna be a challenge, but it's fun right now. I needed a challenge. Roy says reading's awesome, especially philosophy like Nietzsche. One of the books I read in the past couple years, I I actually read it as an audiobook. I'm gonna go get it. I'll be right back. Is Beyond Good and Evil by Nietzsche. And then I was like, I saw it on sale. Here it is. I prove that I'm like, as I knock down my lights, to prove that this will give me internet clout, right? This will show. I didn't read the physical copy, but I listened to the audiobook, which was like 20 hours or something ridiculous. There was a part in the book that I really liked where, and one of these days I'm gonna like bookmark it so I can find it. But Nietzsche was talking about how the world needed new philosophers, and that it was kind of like a precarious place for them to come into existence because might be me reading into it. But in order to be a philosopher, and think of it in terms of Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory of motivation, right? Like, in order to be thinking up here at the very top of Maslow's hierarchy, you need to have a lot of lower needs met. Then once you have your lower needs met, there's not a lot of things motivating you. Like the things at the top of the hierarchy are a lot less motivating than the things at the bottom of the hierarchy. And like chaos magic, I tend to use a technique where I find things that I want at the like it might be like material things or something like, and I use them to motivate me towards order goals. Like if I don't know, if I solve world hunger, I can buy my one moment my podcast guest texted me. Okay. Let me look at the chat. Did I finish what I was saying? Okay, Nietzsche was saying that the world needed these new philosophers, but it was just so dangerous, or precarious the situation of whether they would come into being, or as he called it, like miscarry their mission in life, because you want to have these philosopher kings, but then you think of the story of the Buddha, of someone given this life of luxury and stuff, and how extraordinary is it that even if it's just the story, like that the Buddha chose to throw away all of the things that he was given and pursue wisdom instead, because the temptation to stay in this state of like, well, I have everything I need, there's so many things that are just addictive, that once you find addictions, those are needs that never really get satiated, you know. So you can stay in this endless loop at the bottom of the pyramid and never feel like you have enough, because you're not meeting your needs in ways that satiate them, but with things that dig the hole deeper. And Nietzsche recognized this, I think, that we needed these thinkers to have the energy and the resources to think about big problems and not have to think about like how are they going to eat, you know, but then not get lost in wealth and hedonism. So I kind of see that as like a mission I have, of trying to balance. I mean, YouTube is such an amazing opportunity. I think if Nietzsche saw YouTubers who would be like, yeah, those are the new philosophers, at least some of them. I mean, every YouTuber is a philosopher in some sense. It's just some of them are like absurdist philosophers, you know, like like all the. I mean, every YouTuber has a philosophy, and they're preaching that philosophy through the propaganda that they create. And whether that's a good philosophy or a bad philosophy or useful philosophy or not useful philosophy, that's up to you to decide. But it's amazing that there is even a like caste in society now of like people that could get paid lots of money to like be philosophers and think things. Like, that's crazy to me. So that's been what I've wanted to do for a while. W7E7 says, wow, dragged me through the mud. I thought it should be easy because it's the same alphabet. Polish kicked my butt so hard. I've never been so humiliated by language. Like Russian, I could understand. Like Russian, it's not humiliating because Russian, but Polish does not look as scary as Russian because you still have the same alphabet. Like In terms of, like, I thought Icelandic was gonna be hard. Icelandic was really easy because I'm a native English speaker, and German and English all have Germanic roots, so they're all pretty similar, actually. Icelandic was actually really easy for me. But, oh, I don't know. Polish was so hard. I don't know what I thought I was getting into with Japanese here. It's like it's I don't know. It's just I don't know, it's kinda fun. One of the apps I'm using, they try to teach you different phrases, and, like, one of the phrases is like, "I have no clue what is going on." I'm like, "I'm just gonna memorize that, and then when I go to Japan, I'm just gonna go up to strangers and be like, 'I have no clue what is going on.'" That's all the Japanese I need. Uh, okay. Jenna Posniak says, "A genealogy of morals is the only thing he wrote when he wasn't insane from migraines." I mean, I've been insane from migraines plenty of time in my life, let me tell you. I've been to the hospital for them. Someone asked me my advice about migraines recently, and let me tell you, if you have migraines, here's my advice. Get your eyes checked, get your vision checked, and you probably need a new glasses prescription. And if you have glasses, wear them all the time. That's one. Quit caffeine completely. Don't have any tea or coffee. Even decaf coffee, I find, gives me migraines, and no chocolate because chocolate has caffeine. Nothing chocolate or coffee or tea or energy drinks. Get enough sleep and have a good circadian rhythm. Like sleep when the sun goes down until the sun comes up. Like that's very, very important. And make sure your water and salt balance is right. Like you might not be drinking enough water, or you might be drinking enough water and you might just not be eating enough salt. So either you're salt and not enough water, or enough water but not enough salt. Balance of salt. Salt is how your body holds on to the water. So if you have too much salt and not enough water, then it's like holding on to more than you're giving it. So that dehydrates you. But then it also you get dehydrated if you don't have enough salt because it just can't the water just flushes through your system. So those are the four things that cured my migraines. And then once in a while one of those goes bad and then I take a sumatriptan pill and then I'm fine. But I am all better now. And I hope you will be too if you have migraines. Regan Wiles says, "I made it this time. Chance is God." Well, my dad says, you make your own luck. And I say every day we go to the luck factory to make our own luck. So every time I live stream, I give my wonderful, beautiful first fans ever chance to interact with me before I become hopelessly famous, and then I will have so many people in my messages that I won't even be able to reply to all of them. So you know, ask me your questions while you can. Little rinky-dink 5-person live stream that I'm happy for every one of you here. Reagan says, "When I see a song comes to mind, A Hole in the Wall, KMFDM, Musakash." Well, half of that felt like reading Polish, but thank you for your comment. Roy says, "I especially like that he views death in a spiritual sense as what is necessary to be reborn. I especially like his idea of the Übermensch." Yeah, I got into Nietzsche because I created my own vampire religion from scratch after watching Twilight, and then I heard some of Nietzsche's ideas were kind of like in line with my new vampire religion that I created. That vampires are basically the Ubermensch. I think Twilight is like Ubermensch for girls and Batman is Ubermensch for boys. I'm gonna make a video essay about it sometime, but Reagan says Migraine by Oliver Sacks is a must read. I have so many must reads right now. I have 100 books on my bookshelf that I want to read, but I also want to make 100 YouTube videos and learn Japanese. Uh, uh, I need more life, man. Guys, give me some of your life. I need it. I need more. W7E7 says Nietzsche fits well with chaos magic somehow. Yeah, I think the idea of beliefs because they make you more powerful and not because necessarily they're true or you've been told to believe them. I mean, definitely genealogy of morals is kind of uh like chaos magic in a sense. It's like, where did your ideas come from? And treating the ideas not as, is this true or not, but why would this be beneficial for an organism, like evolutionarily? Why would this idea be evolutionarily beneficial. That's basically what the genealogy of morals is about. How did these beliefs evolve? And to see them as like true or false, but as beneficial or antithetical to someone's well-being, I think is a very chaos magic perspective. Reagan says, for health, move a lot. Waka nai. I mean, again, more. I mean, it doesn't sound quite like Polish. There's not enough like Q's in it or Z's. Polish has a lot of Z's, but I don't. A lot of times you just got to read what your audience says and just continue with your day. Roy says caffeine doesn't even make you awake. It just makes it impossible to sleep. Yeah, it definitely. It also makes you really anxious. I think. Like I think a lot of people think they have an anxiety problem, but they really just have a caffeine addiction. Greenwell says it's Japanese. Well, how embarrassing for me. But I'm a noob, and you didn't even write it in Japanese characters. So go to Japan, live more, read less. I mean, my my job is kind of worse right now. I'm trying to make YouTube a career, and there's a quote. I'm sorry, I don't know where this quote is from. I forgot. I want to say it's Sylvia, someone like that, but I don't remember. Um, read 1,000 books and your words will flow like a river. I think if I want to be a writer, and I do write video essays, I think it's important to be a reader too, because I think there's so much you can learn from books, but I don't know if books are necessarily the most efficient way to learn things. Like I have learned so much from YouTube, honestly. I have learned so much from YouTube, but I wouldn't have been able to learn that from YouTube if the YouTubers didn't learn it from a book, you know? Like I think you can condense that knowledge into a form that's more, to use a nutrition term, bioavailable, that's easier for people to digest. But first you have to go through the yeah. But I treat it as my job. I don't necessarily read for fun as much as to educate myself because I'm a college dropout. Where he says, I literally in the vamp aesthetic. I mean, samesies. Yeah. Reagan Wiles says, go teach in Japan if you have a degree. Musakashi. It's difficult. Yeah, that was difficult to say. I don't have a degree and good at Japanese. Like I'm just trying to learn enough, go on a trip and find out where the bathroom is. That's all. I don't know. And like order food that won't kill me, because most foods will kill me slowly or quickly. M161 says, you are cute. Who did you sell your soul to be this way? Myself. I bought my own soul on eBay. Reagan Wiles says, what can I equals I don't know. I'll get there one of these days. I'm on the alphabet. It's my first month. I'm still learning how to say wow. Honestly, I love learning new languages because I feel like a little baby. Like something about it. I like there's a lot of things that I don't know how to say this without sounding like a pretentious asshole, but I was always like the smart kid at my school, and a lot of times things were too easy for me. Last time like things were like really like this difficult for me was like when I was a little kid. I don't know. I feel whenever I try to study something that's just like way over my head, I'm just like I am like a little baby, and this is a fun activity for me. I don't know. Weird. M161 says Japan is overrated. I mean, by who? M161 says go to India instead. It is more culturally relevant because they are the older than Western countries. I mean, I say Indian philosophy and like I have some Indian philosophy books that are on my books I need to read as soon as possible so that people will take me seriously. Why can't I just be a philosopher who just, like, makes stuff up, like Socrates, you know? Like, when they first made philosophy, you know, they were just making stuff up, they weren't reading any books, books hadn't even come out yet, they didn't have the printing press yet, you know? Like, and people still look at those books and they're like, "Yeah, that's good stuff, man," even nowadays, you know? I mean, why can't I just make stuff up? Why do I have to read other people? I don't know, but I do like to know what people are talking about. Okay, oh, yeah, but Indian philosophy, but, like, if you wanna go shopping, go to Japan. Like, I just wanna go to Japan to, like, go buy makeup and clothes and stuff and, like, go to little photo booths. I don't know, it's cute. Little neon city. That'll be fun. I just wanna, like, get a bunch of money and go shopping in Japan and, like, not know what the prices are and not care. Grillin' Chillin' 4009 said, "Did you get free shipping on my soul?" I believe you mean, which I bought on eBay. I think the shipping was 7.99 actually, which is kind of a rip-off because, like, soles are kind of like a cereal and weightless, so I don't even know why it was so heavy to ship. It was probably the insurance on it that cost so much, actually. Jenna Pozniak is probably correcting my pronunciation of fugu. Uh, I mean, I don't. You're using letters to try to correct. Yeah, I admit I don't know I don't speak Japanese yet. I didn't list it on my list of languages I already speak. It's on the list of languages I've poorly attempted to study. W7E7 says, listening to your poem about Anakin, I thought you might want to be a Sith too. Honestly, I think Padme made some questionable decisions. I would have become a Sith princess if given the opportunity. Reagan says, I lived in Japan, Ireland, and all over the USA, including Maine for a year. I have visited California once and Florida twice, New Orleans, New York about 12 times, Canada twice, Iceland. Most of those places I went myself too. But yeah, who knows where Grillin' Chillin' 4009. I just want to say your name reminds me of grilled cheese. I might call you grilled cheese unless you object. Grilled cheese says, I'm addicted to language learning apps sometimes. I am so addicted to that. Well, I wouldn't say it's an addiction. Addiction, I guess, in a good way. I feel bad about myself. I just want to be good at something, you know? And I love having thing of like this is it's like they make it like video games, you know? Love when they have like ranked leaderboards in the world because then you know, you find a really niche language and you just like get ranked as like, I'm the number one in the world this week. That's all. And you just get to be like, yay, I got a gold medal at something nobody cares about. Like, that's the only video game. And I kind of understand. I'm a gamer girl. I play language apps. Reagan says, I knew nothing and no one did, and I'd love to go to India. My loves. I mean, yeah, I also like don't know people here. I talk to people online way more than people in real world. M161 says they didn't make stuff up, they found ways to apply the laws of logic outside the realm of mathematics. I mean, I would say a lot of my ideas are applying logic to life, you know, and maybe I didn't invent the logic itself, but I mean, uh, sometimes I take terms that are usually used in one context and I use them in another. Like local maxima is a term I usually use and they usually use in like mathematics, but I like to apply it to psychology or like I'll make videos about stuff like this. Chat is like being talkative, so I don't even have to rant too much. I can just save it for the video essays. Roy says, Magic, have you tried working with a Goetia? I don't know what that is. If you could please explain what that is. Reagan says, I think you have the courage and the curiosity. Japan is not what you think. I don't really think much about Japan. I I don't know what you think I think. Like the fact that I think that they have some neon signs there and sushi. Like I don't know what misconceptions you think I have. Jenna Posniak says, no, I was making a pun on the dangerous fish. Let me try to find your last message. I have no idea what this is about. Seth. Well, there's a difference between empathy and sympathy, you know? Like, you can feel what other people feel and use it to, like, manipulate them. But but to care is a different thing. Like, I mean, think about, like, the food chain, you know? Like, is that evil? Is it evil for lions to eat gazelles? I don't know. Think about that. W7E7 says Sith Princess. Yeah, I actually like wrote a song called Sith Princess. Maybe someday I'll release it. Reagan says I barely speak any Japanese. Well, get good. I don't know. Grilled cheese says grilled cheese sounds fine. I didn't even read your message before I called you grilled cheese. Reagan says that's awesome. You ate a traveled merkin. Why are you guys use the weirdest words. I have never seen these words before in my life. Every single day I log on to YouTube and I see a word that I have no idea what it means. I don't even bother looking them up because I'm like, it might mean different things to different people, you know. Whatever you guys y- like beautiful little creatures with your own little language. Just know, just know if you have an extremely rare word. I actually have a video coming out on Tuesday about extremely rare words and when you should use them. Reagan says Maine is the best state. I'm inclined to agree. Reagan says, I live in North Carolina. We have the most liberal and most conservative. If talking to the community, not you alone, I'll. The grammar was a bit. I'm not really sure what you meant. W7E7 says Nietzsche and Schopenhauer on steroids. I'm sure they would have taken steroids if they were available, if they were not already taking steroids. I saw something, I don't know if it was true or not, that Nietzsche tried to prescribe himself opioids. I don't know if it was a meme or if that actually happened. And 161 says yes because it is food. Oh yeah, you're talking about. I have so many tangents. I have to remember. Like, what was I talking about 5 comments ago? So gazelles are fine because they are food. So where do you draw the line, M161? 161 says it is not immoral because they're performing a natural function of nature. Murder is not natural in the same way hunting is. Okay, fair. Yeah, I mean, I guess I just don't know what it takes to become a Sith. Like, just because Palpatine said you have to do this to become a Sith, is that true? You know, does one Sith Lord define what it means to be a Sith? Because, I mean, think about Christianity. There's so many different ways to practice Christianity. Like, some people say, like, well, you need to have wine and crackers to be a Christian. I'm allergic to wine and crackers. Does that mean I could, like, never theoretically become a Christian? You know, it depends who you're talking to and how they define it. So, Jana Posniak, Jean Posniak says instead of FU, response was no. You know, I speak like 4 different languages, but you guys always manage to say things that are never heard of. You guys speak Simlish sometimes. Perspective. Grilled cheese says semi-territorial sumptuousness. Couldn't agree more. Rachel says extremely rare word. Bans. I mean, I haven't banned anyone yet. EFO says the laws of nature supersede the laws of man. A lion killing to eat to survive is certainly not evil. It's a biological imperative. And 161 says it is not. Okay, I already read that one. Grilled cheese says apparently there could only exist 2 Sith according to the Sith order in prequel plus times. See, I, you know, I got banned from the Star Wars Reddit because I posted my video of me performing Across the Stars, and they said that it was too like self-promotional to link to my YouTube channel, so they banned me from the Reddit. So whatever people are talking about of like the political nuances of what it means to be a Sith Lord, I literally cannot participate in because I am banned from the Reddit because I had the audacity to, after I spent 2 months learning a song from the Star Wars soundtrack and performing it in cosplay, that I had the audacity to post the link to it on the Star Wars Reddit, and then I got banned for that. So I M161 says, "Do you speak Jabba the Hutt's language?" Man, I thought that, was it C3PO who is like literally like speaks like 6,000 languages or something? I was like, that's so cool. I want to be like that, but I have only so much life in this soul until I have to buy a new one off of eBay. Roy says Sith are all about passion. That's why they're cool. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. It's like, does the passion need to be hatred or can it be love? Because the Jedi Order is kind of like against love and passion. I think that in my interpretation of being a Sith is that you can be extremely passionate and don't need to be against something or something. And if I'm missing some nuances, then someone unban me from the Star Wars Reddit. M161 says, I have an actual Star Wars language translation book. It's so cool. That cool. And I wish I had one. Grilled Cheese says, fake levels, lol. Yeah, I know. I think they were just, whoever the Reddits there were just like envious that I was Star Warsing better than they were Star Warsing. And I think they were the real evil Sith Lords that wanted to, or maybe they were Jedi Lords that wanted to strike me down for having too much passion. Couldn't handle a Sith princess. W7E7 says, regarding chaos magic and belief manipulation, do you have any personal in order to suspend disbelief? Ooh, that's interesting, because I know what that means, but I have to see how I can explain it simply. So suspension of disbelief. Let's start with defining our terms, like a good philosopher. When you watch a movie, you suspend your disbelief. You agree to, when you watch a play especially, watching a play is a really good example because, you're in the play, and they could be pretending to be a character. When you're watching the play, you don't like stand up in the middle of the play and say, "Hey, that's Jeremy. That's not Cassandra. That's my friend Jeremy in a black wig." You agree to, okay, I'm not going to scrutinize this too much. I'm just going to go along with it. So methods for suspending disbelief. I think that would depend on what the goal is, a reason that you might want to suspend your disbelief. Say that you're trying to do something that's a little bit risky and you want to have faith. And faith is essentially also a suspension of disbelief. It's like realizing that, like, yeah, I could be like, well, this might not work out. It might flop. It might be a terrible failure. I know some of you guys don't like Elon Musk, but I like this Elon Musk quote that if something is worth doing enough, it's basically worth failing. That's not the exact quote, but it basically, if something is important enough to you, if the goal is important enough to you, then the threat that you might fail shouldn't stop you from doing it if it's that important. I think a kind of way to look at it of instead of trying to necessarily delude yourself that there's no chance that this could fail, instead tell yourself, like, I'm a brave warrior who is going bravely towards the thing that is so important to me, and if I fail, my death will be honorable. I think that's kind of what I do, and I just accept that there is easy to get a Reddit ban. They have thin skins. Jean says, fugu fish is served in high-end Japanese restaurants, but if it's not, well, I know what not to order. W7E7, through strength I gain power, gain victory. Through victory my chains are broken. The force shall free me. I see, that's the Sith stuff I subscribe to. I think that's completely in line with being an empathetic person. Reagan says, recently seen movie Rex. The zone of interest, Wojciech, Strozek, high and low. Okay. Recently, the last movie I saw was Dracula, A Lovers, and I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was just great. Reagan says, Maine has good restaurants. I wouldn't know because I can't eat anything. one says, set the lightsabers to stun. Yeah, on killing people, you can just like zap them a little bit. Roy says, love and hatred are the same. You hate something because you love something else. If you can't hate, you're incapable of loving. Yeah. Yeah. Like, there's that like MLK Jr. quote that's um, like, love without power is anemic. Power without love is reckless. Yeah. Agree there. Reagan says, Maine has Mark Tipton, one of the greatest trumpet players in the world. I don't know why, like, do you rank places to live based on how good their trumpet players are? Oh, man. I need, like, a good world map of, like, which places have the best trumpet. What's your trumpet player demographic? Very discerning. M161 says, I want to use my cool force powers to help people and protect the innocent, not hurt others or rule with power. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the rule books are for what. I mean, the force is the force, right? You know, like the Jedi and the Sith are using the same force, right? So why don't you just make like a third religion of like just the force is the force and it's independent of whatever nonsense they put on top of it? I feel like that would probably work. Reagan says, Maine has Joyce here, a great chef and awesome human being. Reagan says, if you're from Maine, consider yourself very lucky. I do consider myself very lucky. And 161 says, he is a fake genius who brought the controlling Tesla stock at the right time. I mean, he designed how the cars, like controlled the fact that the cars look pretty. I just like the Model S looks like a kitty cat. And it's faster than a Porsche. W7E7 says, how do you choose the topics for your essay videos? What is your main source of inspiration? Oh man, I have like a document of like 100 different things that I could make a video essay about, and that's not even pushing it. You know, that's not even stretching it. I kind of just, honestly, I use video essays as a way to communicate. Like a lot of times I'll have a conversation with someone and there's like an idea that I have in my head that I want to get into their head. And it just seems because otherwise I'm just going to be like, and then they can choose entertaining instead of me being the boring, annoying friend who goes on long rants that nobody wants to hear, and then it can help others. So it's really kind of I'm kind of trapped in my own head with the outside world in a way that they don't get super bored of me. It's kind of whatever is most pressing that other people don't understand that I need to get through to them as soon as possible. That's what determines the order of my video essays. Thank you for the question. Grilled Cheese says, I forgot most of the extended universe lore, but I think by prequel times, if you're force sensitive, you don't really hone that power unless trained by someone else. Yeah, there's definitely a bureaucracy of like how force is learned, but like once you become like a Sith or a Jedi, like I don't think there's anything necessarily like stopping a Sith or a Jedi from going off and creating their own new religion once they learned how to use the force. You know, like I don't think that Sith and Jedi have to be the only ways. Like if they're opposites but they're using the same force, why can't we all just get along? Grilled Cheese says, but in Knights of the Old Republic times, people using the Force was more decentralized. Yeah. Like, I think the Force has to be older than the religions of so what, you know, there's got to be a middle way between evil Sith and evil Jedi. Like, there has to be a middle way between love is bad and you have to kill people. Like, there has to be, come on, this can't be the only two options. M161 says his scientist did it for him and he took credit. I mean, someone's got to pay the scientists, man. You know? Like, even if someone just funded the science, that's still a good thing. Fret says hamburger. This is the third variation of hamburger, and this is my third live stream. Wow. Fret showing up with a new variation of hamburger every single time. I wonder how many variations of hamburger we will get through as my channel continues. I wonder how unrecognizable the hamburger will become. I wonder if I'll cease to recognize that it is hamburger one day. What a sad day that will be indeed. Fret says, do you think there's a hamburger hands fighting style? Do you mean like the hamburger helper gloves? Like, are those like a type of boxing gloves? Because that's all that came to my head, and I have no other way to interpret that. M161 said, I'm addicted to One Piece. I'm at the climate fight in the Impel Down arc now. 1100 more episodes to go. Wish me luck. Good luck. Rory says, have you ever worked with a demon or daemon? I might be one. I don't know. I love, it reminded me of the Golden Compass series, his Dark Materials, where daemon means something different, but the daemons there are really cute. M161 says, you are on mute? Am I? Can anyone else confirm? Am I on mute? Anyone in the chat, let me. He says, I'm joking. Okay. W7E7 count on you for reliable information. Checked my mic button for you guys. Position where your hands are hamburgers. I mean, I often have hamburgers in my hands. Reagan, thank you for confirming accurate information. I hear you, he says. W7E7 says, Schopenhauer said the will is fundamental reality, the underlying essence of all essence is the will, the force, an incessant force that manifests itself through nature and human passion. And I can hear you perfectly. Well said, W77. See, the real. See, do you think Schopenhauer would have been Sith or Jedi? M161 says, it is working now. I just need to refresh the link. Okay, cool. Fret says, lol memes. Fret, what a funny practical joke to play on an innocent e-girl. Time flies when you're talking with strangers on the internet. I don't know how things for me or if I should go like W7E7 says, innocent me there. You got me there. I definitely don't have any in storage. Reagan says, we are one. We are actually 6 in the live chat. 7. Woo. Hello, who just joined. I'm bad at coming up with things thought on my own because my brain is really just like meditative silence until you like throw something in it. I was thinking about the metaphor of like pearls and oysters because an oyster is just minding its own business. It's just this little blob inside a shell. Sand gets in it and it's like, oh, screw this grain of sand, and it starts to make a pearl out of it so that it won't bother it anymore because the pearl will be soft. And I feel like people talking to me are like just throwing bits of sand oyster so that I will make pearls of wisdom. But as I'm just minding my business, my brain is just like a blob. It's just like, nothing happened. Grilled cheese says, what are your esoteric thoughts on pi, the number? 3.141589792338466643383275502884197169399759 I forgot the rest. The rest it was just working memory. I don't have time for that. I mean, there's a lot of esoteric things to be said about like the Fibonacci sequence or Manrot sets and stuff, sort of mathematical things of chaos within some order. I read the book Chaos by James Gleick. I would recommend that book if you're interested in that sort of thing. But this might be a gross oversimplification, but to me sometimes it seems like mathematicians are like, let's describe the universe using math, and that's what you're trying to do, you know? I mean, like if you set out to write a poem of cat and you're like, how amazing is it that poems can be about cats? It's like, well, Reagan says Buckminster Fuller was the man, my main man. You know, I don't know. These are some niche references. I mean, not to make it about me, but like if you guys say something, I will recognize that. Like, I know a lot of quotes. In my pie video, I put some quotes from Twilight that are like directly related to pie. Like Edward starts reciting, and then he's impressed that Bella knows square root of pi is. And 161 says that chaos magic stuff is ripped from the Golden Dawn cult. I've heard of that, but I like to start my own cults. I only temporarily mess with other cults just to get some for mine, just to see how they're run. Paperwork is like. Speaking of the United States, go buy a official sigil necklace. Know that you're a cool person in a cult. Let me grab one. These are for sale on mayyhemm.co. Cool stuff. I have temporary tattoos, bracelets, and I have a chain version of these too. This is how you join the cult. Wear this pendant that is like possibly enchanted if you're into that. That it's not enchanted. Or maybe it is, who knows? Grilled Cheese says, do you like test? I mean, I haven't taken the Scientology test, so I wouldn't know. But if I did, I would get a perfect score on it, I'm sure. Took an IQ test, 100%. Right? 100? Get it? That was a joke. M161 was also stolen from the Golden Dawn by Satanists in 1966. Think about that. Yet. Reagan says, Plotinus, the founder of Neoplatonism, describes as an ineffable, transcendent, and absolute unity that is the source. The one is beyond being or thought. The Bleeding Existentialist says, are the audience here like only teenagers? You know, I've looked at my demographics, and I don't know if it's because people who are teenagers never like sign in and say, I'm a teenager. But my audience is like 0% teenagers, like 0% people under the age of 18. I don't know if that's like a glitch or something. There's got to be some of them. But according to the official data, most people are watching my channel are like 25 to 35. That's my viewers. So, or so they say. M161 says, or the church. I'll take your word for it. I try to make up as much stuff as I can, and like I feel more comfortable reading books now that I've already had some time to think about when I can just kind of hold the books up against what I believe and be like, do I agree with this? Does it agree with my beliefs? Does it challenge them? And if so, is it like a good challenge that like I should change my belief, or does my belief challenge this, and is my belief better for some logical reason? And rather than just reading books and be like, oh, a person said this, so it must be true. We're almost at an hour. I'll end the live once I finish my drink, so send your last question while you still can, before I'm super famous. When I'm famous, I'll try to remember who was like my first people here. But you know, the more you comment, the more I'll remember your name. The Bleeding Existentialist says, okay, I found these comments too edgy and I thought they might be teenagers or something. You know, there's no age limit on being. you know. I think there's something like very fun about almost like the archetype of teenagerness of Katy Perry's like album Teenage Dream. I think I like the even more than I like the actual music. Like the idea of like what a movie Hollywood calls like teenage life in civilization. Like the romanticized idea of all of that. Sometimes I feel like I didn't I mean, I don't think anyone really was a teenager like it is in the movies, but it's a fun thing to aspire to or in circumference nowhere. Yep, that's it. That's the thing. Grillby says a ton of shows and movies are like high school throwbacks. Yeah. And 1616 books. Bleeding existentialist is all right. How do you make a living if you're okay that? I steal other people's life force. I don't have time to make my own. It's easier if you're top of the food chain. W7E7 says in Neoplatonism following the one who the world soul and the emanation of the material world. Some of those words. The bleeding existentialist more precisely. Um, well, I'm seeking to ethically make a living off of stealing you guys' like the world's attention. Not stealing, like earning the world's attention by having smart and interesting things to say that will make people's lives better. So, I am trying to make a living off of YouTube. So, I call me intern. I'm doing my unpaid internship to be a YouTuber. Current career plan. If you want to help me make a living, right. Okay, any more questions, guys? I'm going to film a podcast soon. So that'll be good. The implications of such truth reverberate endlessly. Yeah, the circle. Soon you'll have 500. Away from 500. And pull this up without. There's no. Yeah, right now we're at 497 subscribers. I hit 500. Rustino Kabbalah. I don't even know what that is. Bleeding existentialist. I do it anyway, though. I find reading in general kind of difficult. In my neurohacking videos, like the early ones, I think there's two types. And people, I mean, right brain types of people, but I think there's like, ideally you want to have both, but everyone has one that they're more comfortable with. I'm definitely can write all day long, but reading is hard for me. I kind of have to push myself to read. So, but then other people are the opposite. Other people writing is really hard. And so I push myself to do both. M161 says Plato's work on physics has largely been rejected by academics because there are better schools of thought that confirm to material universe currently understand it. I mean, give Plato some credit, go. you know, they were doing their best. Roy says it's another magic system. I've sort of heard of. I think I've heard of it, but I like to we make our own magic here. M161 says magic is technology we don't understand yet. Isn't that? There's a quote. I don't know who's it by. I feel bad about it, but any sufficiently evolved technology is indistinguishable from magic. Bleeding existentialist. Any graduates here? Not me. I dropped out. On my philosophy class, the one semester I went to go. I remember like going up to the teacher and being like, "Okay, reading philosophy. Apparently, that is not something you do your first year." I was like, "Screw this. My philosophy is better than all. I'm gonna go make my own." Reagan says, "The one thought all is all right now. The Upanishads say it most eloquently. That's on my to-be-read shelf, my shelf of books that I should read." All right, I have a podcast soon. Much for joining me today. Less glitchy than last time. I'm trying to figure out the software and stuff. Once I figure out how to use this technology, do have some cool ideas for live streams, like challenges and stuff to do on live. Um, but I just get a little comfier with how to even set it up because it scares me. Technology scares me. Not a lot of, I mean, it's just, thank you guys for your patience. Um, yeah. Well, I'll see you next time I live stream, and I have no idea when that will be. It might be tomorrow, it might be next week. Who knows? Reagan says, you have the thing in itself, you've got it in you, it's with you. I mean, yeah, I am the product. Just gotta market myself. Once people know I exist, that's all I need. And 161 says, goodbye, Lord Mayhem. Perfect thing to end. Bleeding into sentence says, can you get Alex O'Connor for a podcast? Oh, I mean, I could call him. He probably won't. I already sent him an email saying, like, you should. See you next. Bye, everyone.